Hey everyone, and welcome to Tutorial Grid. Now on this episode of Tutorial Grid Behind the Lens, we have a really cool special guest, one of my friends, and we've only known each other for a couple of years, but Mr. Kelly Griffin. He's a fantastic director and also the newest editor of the hit sexy doctor show on YouTube, Dr. Mike. So, Kelly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm also the most out of shape person in the Dr. Mike team.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, where is the show located at?
They shoot in New York. Dr. Mike actually operates, or he performs medicine in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But yeah, they're based out of New York.
Ah, okay. Okay. So let's delve back into how you kind of got into media. So tell me a little bit about like your background.
I got into media through programming, which is kind of weird. I have a technical background. I did computer networking for many years, and I got into database development. That led me into web development and web application development, and I ended up getting a web application development job at a production company.
Okay.
And so started coming in on Saturdays and helping with production. Started really digging it and ended up just making the leap and going into production full time a couple of years later. So.
Okay, cool. So what at that time, what were you shooting on?
Wow, we were shooting on, ENG, big hibachi, beta cams. Beta cams was what we were shooting on.
So you're going like reel to reel and tape editing?
Yeah, well, they were shoulder mount and tripod mount, of course, but they had, of course, ENG lenses, and we had to do weird things like black the tapes and things so that we could reuse them and stuff. Right. And so it was a weird technology that we used in television, but consumers went VHS, which was a whole different technology.
Right.
But people who were doing actual television were using Betamax stuff. So.
Right. Okay, so where did you go on from there? I remember you telling me a story about P. Allen Smith, and you were on PBS.
I worked for P. Allen Smith for a while. He's a lifestyle guru on PBS. Worked for him for about 4 years, and we did 3 television shows. Garden Style, Garden to Table, and Garden Home. And of course, one of them was a cooking show. This was where I gained all my weight while working for him doing that.
That must have been easier.
Yeah, super fun cooking show. And actually, it was kind of an answer to a problem we had when we started running out of time to have Alan on camera. We were like, what can we do? And Alan had written so many cookbooks. We were like, let's take those cookbooks. Let's do recipes, and we'll just shoot somebody's hand, and we'll cut graphics in and have, like, when he's cutting a carrot, we'll cut the graphics with it and stuff, and make it really digestible in little 3-minute clips of how to cook something. And so it became a television show.
So that's like Tasty before Tasty was.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, and a lot of the YouTube stuff that you see now with the vloggers, jump cutty things, rolling graphics in and out, interacting with animation. We were doing that with P. Allen Smith years ago too. Right. Yeah, so against green screen and white screen, and so.
Well, that's a fun little segue into all that digital stuff that's happening kind of now. Yeah. Okay, so where have you been in the past few years? Like, where were you from, like P. Allen Smith to, like, say, a couple of years ago?
I went from P. Allen Smith to a medical production company. I shot a lot of operations, brain surgeries, chest cracks, cervical fusions, and did stuff like that. Also shot a lot of patient stories, and I traveled a lot and shot doctor stories, patient stories, success stories, and things like that, and all based around the medical field. And I was producing content for these media streaming systems in clinics and hospitals for patients to watch, to let them know more about what's going to happen before their surgery, how they need to prepare for it, who their doctor is, where he's from, what he likes to do, biography stuff and stuff like that. And so just a way producing content to get the customer more comfortable with the procedure that they were about to go through.
Okay. Okay.
And then went from there to where you know me from, which is the Army National Guard,
right?
Through Chitra Productions. So I was the editor there for, I guess, a little over a year, and that's when we met. And then I took a chance from there and went to be the video director of a startup, a little small startup that lasted about a year. Yeah,
that's about how long those little things last. It's
yeah,
it's a year. And next thing happens.
And since then I've just been freelancing, and I've been doing stuff for Dr. Mike and some local agencies here and stuff like that, and working on my own stuff. So
that's great. So tell me about your own stuff. So throughout all that time, I mean, you're just not like a corporate guru who just goes around and does their videos. What kind of fueled your passion through that time of actual work video?
Well, I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to say I haven't created enough content myself in a while. I also play in a band. That also takes up a lot of time.
Right.
And so sometimes it's hard to schedule shooting a short when I look at my calendar and go, I play the next 3 weekends. So how am I possibly going to do that? And so not complaining, just explaining, but I do want to spend more time behind the camera and and editing my own stuff that I have in mind. And I have several things that I've written, and it unfortunately it ends up being pieces of what I've written, just a few pages, because that's really all I can do. I have worked on a couple of features and spent months and months and months and months, years even technically, finishing 2 features, and it really made me want to take a vacation from doing a feature for a while.
Right.
But for some reason, that's how I write. And so I just kind of pull shorts out of the feature-length scripts that I write and find moments in there that might make for a good few pages. And
nice. So what are you working on right now, other than...
well, hopefully. I'm talking about working on it more than I'm actually working on it. I've written a feature called Abel. It's a Southern Gothic about some... younger boys who get into some mischief. It's really hard to explain it, but they're basically 3 feral children who raise themselves. And the short that we're going to shoot is just, you're actually going to be my DP on it.
Hey. See, that's why we have the margaritas here.
But let's go ahead there.
Yeah. That's good.
It is good.
It's one of the better margaritas I've had around.
So the short's basically about these 3 feral children who kind of raise themselves.
Right.
And the main lead character has a fishing cabin that he more or less lives in. Stays out there, and he, although we're not going to get to it in the short, we're just going to do a conversation that he has with his friends that night. But it's basically about him witnessing a murder, or what should have been a murder. But the female who gets shot is still alive, and he kind of patches her up and gets her back to his fishing cabin and kind of holds her there and tries to make her better in a loving yet weird
Stockholm syndrome type
kind of
deal.
a thing. And so it's hard to describe. I guess it's a little like maybe Stand By Me mixed with Misery.
Okay.
But not really. So, but no, and it's one I definitely want to shoot, and I do believe that the meat that we picked out of the script to create a short around will be really good if we can cast it correctly and
make kind of a sizzle out of it, the front end of it.
Yeah. So
sell it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it gives you the tone, and it introduces you to the characters, and it gives you their arc, and you find out a lot about all 3 characters in that one scene. And so, yeah, and so that's what I'm interested in doing next, is working on something for myself. And that's what Peter McKinnon just put out a video that said, "Don't stop creating for yourself."
Right, and then you're like, I gotta go do it because Peter said it.
Well, no, it's just, it reminded me why I started doing this in the first place. When I started doing this, I was a programmer, and I made movies with friends. We would get together, and we had no idea what we were doing, and they always ended up with this awkward, amateurish charm that, of course, I can't recapture now because I've been doing it so long. But still, back then, and I remember how much fun it was, and how late we would stay up doing edits together. When's the last time you edited with somebody and had the best time ever? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so those days they don't come around anymore, and so you just gotta. When you do it for a living, sometimes it takes the fun out of it, and you have to do something that you want to do to reintroduce that fun again.
Oh, absolutely. So I guess that's a good segue into where we're going next. So tell me about editing for YouTube and what you're kind of like doing right now. Are there any like certain things people should be looking for and doing in their videos in order to incorporate some kind of social aspect?
Yeah, there's definitely a YouTube style that's out there, and most of it is, I guess, revolves around this microwave generation. People want their information, they want it fast, they want it articulate, and they want it now. And so there's no rooms for and thoughtful, you know what I mean, pauses and things like that. And I say that that's not a hard, fast rule. You know, the Dr. Mike stuff is really, you know, it's shot with an X-ray chart, and the colors awesome, and the audio is always, you know, it's just, they go through a lot of trouble to make sure that it looks and sounds really, really good. That being said, there's a charm to an awkward vlog. You know, there's something you can't capture with a cinematographer, an audio guy, and stuff. And that is the old school YouTube days when vloggers just kind of did a stream of consciousness and weren't scared to mess up, and then used that as a catalyst for the next video if they did. Oh man, I can't believe I said what I said in my last video. Here's me going, you know what I mean? And that's part of the YouTube world too. And so there's no real formula to it, but I would just say make them as concise and quick as possible. You know, don't if it's comedy, don't forget to let comedy breathe, because sometimes comedy breathes and sometimes it doesn't need to be chop cutted really, really fast, you know. But it just depends on the content that you're creating. And yeah, I mean, I've seen so much great content that is, the white balance is off and it's not in focus, and you know, YouTube gives you a forgiveness. There's a forgiveness level in YouTube for that, and so. And so, yeah, you know, that's kind of my advice is make it as good as you can, but know that it's YouTube.
So is there anything else you're doing other than, you know, like your own little social projects? We did the 48 hour together. How long have you been doing the 48?
I've been doing the 48, I believe. This is a best guesstimate. The 48 has been going on here. This was the 15th year, and I'm pretty sure I've been involved in 13 of them. Not all of them with my own team, but I've been on other people's teams, and I've been involved in one way, shape, or form for the 13 of the years. I think we went on vacation 1 year or 2 years and missed it 2 years because they timed it right at the time we had trips planned. And so, but I would have done it all 15, you know, had it been happen. Yeah, it's a great little contest. You learn a lot. You also learn how to deal with things, production things that you will find in real production. The things that you learn how to deal with things that aren't necessarily technical problems with the camera or lenses or lights or things like that, and they are working with friends and family, trusting people to do things, and then
that not happening
or it happening better than anything. You know, you just run into so many things, and so you just have to deal with problems, and sometimes you end up being a bad guy or a good guy or just the guy who gets the movie turned in on time, and so but you learn a lot during it, and I cannot emphasize enough how, of course, it's just me, I can't speak for everyone, but when somebody gives me something and goes, I need this, this, and this, and it has to fit in this, and I need it like in an hour, that's when my brain sparks up, you know, that's what gets me going. And so I love the 48 because there's a deadline involved, and they give you the elements that you have to meet in order to achieve the goal.
It forces that creativity. It's like, okay, I got to get this done on this time frame. How am I going to get a squid into the script?
And when it's done, there's going to be a theater full of people watching it, judging it, and going,
Doesn't seem like you spent a lot of time on this. And so tell me about like your favorite 48 project, or like a really fun story.
Oh man, I mean, I love making movies with my friends, so I mean, I have fun stories from every year. 1 year we drew silent film, which meant everybody could direct from afar, you know, and everything was just a big wide shot, and we over-ramped it, and so super fun because all the pressure was off on getting audio. And strangers could like walk in with a drink and go, twirl your mustache. And Jay would twirl his mustache. And so it was like this big there's a big party of people just with their creativity, just letting it fly, almost like when you watch the credits, the opening credits to Anchorman, or when you watch the behind the scenes.
Where they're just feeding lines.
You hear Adam in the background just yelling lines for him to say, and him, and that's kind of what it was like.
So tell me about the longest. It was like the longest dick joke. Is that
that was
one?
Cocktails? Yeah.
Okay, Cocktails.
Yeah, it was a 7-minute dick joke. And so yeah, one year the prop was a chicken, and so we meant you mean a cock, and that was all it took to get the non-stop innuendos going.
Right.
And probably one of the best written films we've ever done, and easy to do because it was we drew film noir, and so it was all narration. We just had Daniel. After he had a couple of drinks, we just gave him the things and he just read them, and that was what we put behind the thing. Right. So it was really easy to get, and really well written, and so many dick jokes, just like, it's on another level, the amount of dick jokes through that movie.
I'm going to have to put that into the video somewhere.
Yeah, we'll get a link. I'll give you a link to it. It's really, really fun.
J. Butler Bedford, Private Dick.
Anita Wang.
What can I do you for, Mrs. Wang?
Big Willie says you're the man to talk to if you're looking for a cock.
Wow, things suddenly got interesting.
So, do you have any kind of like advice for like up and coming like film directors or people who want to get into this type of industry?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what part of the industry you want to be a part of. I'm kind of a control freak like you. So we know how to shoot, we know how to write, we know how to edit, we know how to do motion graphics and things like that. And I don't know if, maybe it's not because I'm a control freak, it's just because I hate waiting on people for things.
Right.
And so
I can just do it myself.
Yeah, I'm just going to learn how to do it myself. And so that's a Robert Rodriguez kind of a mentality towards doing production. But I think it's always a great idea to know as much about each job as you can, because if you do visual effects, if you composite, if you have to composite the stuff that you shoot, it makes you a better shooter the next time you have to shoot something that you have to composite. You realize the framework of what you're going to have to do in post, and then you know how to shoot it at that point. And there's a lot of guys who don't edit their own footage who have no idea how that works. They've never tracked a camera in 3D. They've never, and they just shoot, oh, that looks great, and if you want to be a cinematographer, learn how to edit and edit your own footage.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than knowing, the footage I got sucks, but crap, I have to edit this.
Yeah, like so I'm saying, I cuss the camera guy all the time, and 90% of the time he's me. That I'm going, oh, you're such an idiot. Why'd you shoot it like that? And that's even after editing my own stuff for years. Right. And so, yeah, if you love cinematography and love to shoot, the best way to get better at it is to edit a little bit and edit the footage you shoot, tell a story with it, and see how you could have shot it better to tell that story. And then you'll go, oh, and you'll have a eureka moment. So, yeah, just learn every bit of everything.
All right. Any final advice to viewers?
Check out Dr. Mike, subscribe, and all that stuff. And if don't wait on equipment. If you have an idea for a story, and you have an iPhone or some sort of camera that gets audio of some kind, go shoot it. I mean, you may want to shoot it again later with a better camera or better audio equipment, but at least it will give you experience. It'll give you a storyboard to work with, or it might give you a film that you're proud of, and you can just send it out just like that. So, yeah, just do it. Just, the hardest part is just doing it. Same thing with writing. Pick up a pen, start writing. That's the hardest part.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, cheers to that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for meeting me at this random Mexican restaurant.
Thanks for having me. These margaritas are excellent here.
Right.
Maybe we should tell them what this restaurant is and give them a little plug.
I don't exactly know what restaurant this is.
It's El Mezcal.
Mezcal in Little Rock,
Cavanaugh.
Arkansas.
But El Mezcal and Cavanaugh, excellent margaritas.
Excellent margaritas. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to Tutorial Grid Behind the Lens. Make sure to check out Dr. Mike, as well as I might link your stuff into the description below. Leave comments and all that stuff in the description. Turn on, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we will see you next time.